Hey everyone, thank you for tuning in to another special edition of Eye to Eye, Disney Through Our Eyes. It's just me again, Kyle, to here on this special episode to talk to you guys. We're talking about Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Jessica has not been able to keep up with the series, she hadn't had the time to, probably the interest as well. So just like last time I did this video for the previous episode, it's just going to be me giving you my thoughts on the final episode of Season 4, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., episode 22, World's End, which is oddly reminiscent of At World's End, the Pirates of the Caribbean film number 4. I just roughly want to give you guys a synopsis of what I took away from the episode, but also what my thoughts about it is, and also my thoughts about the season as a whole, where we're going with this, and just kind of maybe some thoughts on how to improve the season a little bit. But I'm sure many of you have seen this episode and been watching the series regularly. However, if you have not, I would not watch this episode yet, because you need to watch episode 22, World's End. There's spoilers afoot here. So please, at this point, turn it off if you have not seen the episode and do not want to be spoiled. With that, here goes. So we kind of start off where we left off. The team is back together, minus Yo-Yo, minus Mac still in the framework. She has gone in to try to save him and has found herself in a bit of a predicament. We'll leave that there for now, because we've got to talk about probably the main story, and what you'll find out is one of my issues with this episode is just the convoluted nature of it, and it's kind of a good outlook at what the whole season was, because of how much was going on in this episode. But the main story that we're following is Ada is trying to seek out her revenge. We found out at the end of last episode too that Ghost Rider is back, so he's about to play into all this, and she wants to kill everyone. She wants to turn this world, the real world, into the framework world. And so how's she going to do that? She's creating more LMDs with the Superior's help. She's trying to recreate some of the Inhumans, such as Daisy, and have them create a cataclysmic event that would galvanize the world against the Inhumans, thus recreating what happened in the framework. And they almost do it. They're at a council meeting of some sort. I didn't really understand what the council meeting was. Again, a lot of this just was a lot thrown at you, so I really don't understand a lot of it, because it was just a lot of moving parts all at once. But essentially, they're trying to convince a group of people that they're a threat. Daisy comes in and shoots General Talbot, who's in the meeting, in the head. And I really thought they killed General Talbot right there. But of course, he's a great character, and they're going to try to save him. He's in a coma, apparently. He does survive. But that event is caught on camera. There's people talking about how this is going to change the outlook of S.H.I.E.L.D., with them working with the humans, and the perception that they've been weaponizing Inhumans to create a framework type of environment. They don't know what the framework is, but for us, something like that. But luckily, they're able to put an end to that. Ghost Rider steps in and helps. Robbie Reyes, Ghost Rider, and they're able to not only defeat the Superior, a lot of the other LMDs, but eventually, and I'm kind of really skipping past a lot of things because there's a lot of other things I want to talk about. Really quickly, I thought, they end up destroying Ada. They trick her into coming to the team. They go back to headquarters where they know that she can find them. There's a fake out scare of her killing Gemma, and with Fitz onlooking, and Fitz is trying to talk her down and things like that. But what we find out is that Robbie Reyes and Coulson have teamed up together and decided they are going to pass on the Ghost Rider spirit, the spirit of vengeance, onto Phil. And during that trap, they end up getting a hold of her, and he ends up able to do, I guess, whatever the attack is on her, where he incinerates her, basically, destroying her for good. At a cost, mind you. Anytime that you mess with the spirit of vengeance, there is a cost, sadly. And we don't know what that is yet, and there's a couple more hints that come of that later on. And then we see kind of the wrap-up of all that. There's mentioned that Fitz is going to take the blame for everything, but they stand together as a team, and they say, no, Fitz, we're all in this together. We are all agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and things like that, which is a really good feel-good moment. The Ghost Rider's spirit goes back to Robbie conveniently. They agreed to do that, again, at a cost. We don't know what that is, what Phil made a deal with the devil for. But he takes the Darkhold back with him to the side, whatever their dimension realm is. So, really quick in and out for him, but I'm glad he came back. Really cool visual effects with him and the transformations, and even with Phil Coulson. If you didn't see the Phil Coulson taking on the mantle of the Ghost Rider, I didn't see it coming a mile away, but as soon as we got into the middle of the thing, I was like, I see what's going on here. Not saying I didn't enjoy it, I just kind of think it was a little telegraphed there as well. And then coming back to Yo-Yo and Mac, they are able to get out of the framework together. Mac is able to see his daughter disappear as the framework starts imploding in on itself, and people start disappearing, and eventually she's his daughter, Hope, sadly, is one of the last ones to disappear, and he has to come to that realization, and he comes back through the framework to the real world with Yo-Yo, and thus the team is all reunited and back together. And they know people are coming for them. Authorities, I guess we'll call them, are coming for them. And so they decide to go have one last family dinner before they're captured in a diner. Really conveniently, the lights go out. You see them kind of making fun of the people. It's like, that's really good with the whole blackout thing. And then they say something like, the window is you got like a 20-something second window. And they cut away. So, post-credit scene, what we see is Phil Coulson waking up in some sort of a room. I thought it was a cell at first, but then he opens up this blast door, is what I'll call it, kind of a Star Wars reference there, and we see they're in space. So what does everyone think of when you think of S.H.I.E.L.D. and space? You think of SWORD. I cannot tell you the acronym for it because I'm just not that well versed in the comic books and stuff, but I do know and understand that SWORD is kind of the counterterrorism threat arm brother organization, sister organization of S.H.I.E.L.D. that deals with counterterrorism from extraterrestrial threats. So, I think that's where we're going with this. I think that's pretty obvious, and that should excite a lot of people. Some people have been calling for this for a long time. So this actually has me excited to see what they're going to do, and I'm definitely more excited at the end of this season than I was of last season with the reveal of the LMD storyline. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy this season, but I just am more interested in what they're going to do in space. You would think at this point with S.H.I.E.L.D. just not working at all. I mean, they have come back from the brink, sort of, but they're not as big as they were, and they just keep running into trouble. It's time to probably take on a new identity and a new way of doing things, and maybe that is through the mantle of SWORD. So I'm really excited to see and learn about this, just like I didn't know anything about the LMD storyline. I think there is a lot to be taken there. Before I get too long into this, because I don't want to make this too long a video, general thoughts about the season. It's definitely not my favorite season. I think that they could have done a lot better. There was a lot going on. Very convoluted. I was excited about the inclusion of Ghost Rider and how they were going to include him. When I first saw that he was coming, and I knew that the tease for LMD storyline was already there at the end of last season, interested in how they were going to work those two together. I think they made everything work. The three main storylines, if you followed all of this season, were Ghost Rider and the Darkhold storyline. The LMD storyline kind of interwoven the entirety of this season. That was the main big one. And then the framework. So you really kind of had three main storylines all thrown into one and somehow woven together. And I really think Ghost Rider was kind of thrown in there at the last minute to kind of bring in the more familiar feel to this season, because not a lot of people like me were aware of what LMD meant, the storyline. So I think that's kind of what they were thinking. And unfortunately, I think that they lost a couple of viewers because of that. Luckily, they're going to be back for a fifth season. So a couple of pieces of advice I have for, if they're listening, they're not, I know. But just my personal opinion is I would like to see them not take on so many different storylines and try to mix them and make them work together. Try to find that one thing and find those little bitty, 3-episode arcs that you can build into the main storyline and not focus on three big things. Maybe they just did that because they thought this might be their last season and they were just kind of throwing things in there and seeing what they could do. I don't know. Just didn't work that well for me this season. But like I said, super excited for where it's going to go. The other thing, I guess 2 out of the 3 things, the second thing would be, and this is kind of a topic that's not really people want to talk about and have fun. It's not a fun topic. But there was a clear and concerted effort in the second half of the season after the winter break with the world events, really the national events that have been going on with the election of Donald Trump, to make certain statements about the president and those people that choose to follow him and choose to support him. And personally, I got a little tired of it because I didn't watch this show for political statements. And granted, the story kind of worked with it somewhat. The framework story lends itself to the Inhuman storyline of, and X-Men really storyline of hating a group of people because we fear them. We don't understand them. And there is a rightness to that. There is a correctness that we should not hate a group of people simply because of their differences of us and do things that are awful, such as discriminate against them and stuff like that. But I went a little overboard in this. I think that they obviously had some angst they wanted to take out, unfortunately, in this season, and there were clear references to, we'll make our country great again, is what Fitz said in the framework. They said fascism, fascist isms and ists, racisms, all kinds of isms and ists throughout the second half of the season, especially in the framework storyline. I just would have preferred if they had left those out. I think while there is some truth to maybe what they were trying to say, you run the risk of alienating a group of people. And if you think those people are wrong and you're trying to make a point to them, you don't make your point by insulting them, their intelligence, and belittling them. You actually come to the table and have a respectful conversation. Now, granted, I'm all about parody and being funny and stuff like that, but this wasn't being funny. This was taking pot shots, let's just be honest. So maybe I'll just kind of sweep that one to the side. I would rather not they get too political with their story and try to take shots at other groups of people. The other thing is I would like to see them take a little bit more of an effort to bring the movie universe into the TV universe, and I know that's really not in their control, and I understand that, but I just don't think the tie-in with Doctor Strange and the Darkhold was enough this season. I don't really understand or know how they could have worked in Guardians of the Galaxy with this season. They probably could have, but I'm not on the story group. I'm not smart enough to figure all that stuff out. But I would like to see a little bit more of that. So that's my 3 things for improvements on this season and moving forward I'd like to see is not so much convoluted stuff, focus on one main story, less political stuff, and obviously, if possible, more tie-ins to the movie universe, and we might get to see that with this whole Agents of S.W.O.R.D. thing. So I'm really excited about where we're going with this next season. So happy to have them back with the inclusion of Inhumans. I think we could have something pretty special, and I think ABC sees the value in them too with bringing them back for a full 22 episode season. So that is my impressions of the final episode, World's End of Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the season as a whole, and what I'm looking forward to. I want to know what you guys thought about this episode. What do you like about it? What don't you like? What do you think about the season? Leave it in the comments section below. Love to hear you guys' thoughts about it. Also, if you could do me a favor, if you like this video, please hit that like button and also share it with your friends. If you have not done so yet, please, please, please subscribe and check out some of the other videos that we have on our channel. We're not just a Marvel channel. We are entirety of Disney. That means Disney Animation, Pixar, Disney Live stuff. We have Disney Nature on here. We even have Star Wars stuff. So anything that you want, we've got on here, and we're trying to bring on to you guys. So please subscribe if you have not done so already. That's all I have for you guys tonight. So until next time, I'll see you real soon.